Aloha everybody and welcome to part 8 of Sonic Generations. In the last part we took on City Escape from Sonic Adventure 2. Now we're switching over to the 3DS version to look at another Sonic Adventure 2 stage. And you can probably guess which one it is from the white outline here. Hell, I can tell just from looking at the blimp. But we're going back to Radical Highway, the very first stage that Shadow the Hedgehog experienced. Not counting the Prison Island boss fight, of course. But this was our introduction to Shadow the Hedgehog. And we're playing as Sonic the Hedgehog, so why are we playing through Radical Highway? Aren't we reliving Sonic's past? Aren't we going through his past adventures? This was a Shadow level, what gives? Well, you don't know that Sonic didn't go to Radical Highway. And I'm not talking about the multiplayer being canon, I'm talking about the actual plot. Think about it. Dr. Eggman blows up the moon, and Sonic and Tails have to split up. Sonic has to lead the police away from Tails, so they go their separate ways. How do we know that Sonic didn't lead the police back to Radical Highway? Maybe he played through this exact same setup that Shadow went through. You don't know. You don't know. Either way, it's got all the familiar set pieces. It has the Knights building. Knights, of course, being another Sega franchise. And this blimp right here, the Got Rings blimp. If you didn't grow up in the 90s, you might not know that the Got Rings is actually spoofing the Got Milk campaign, where there was a whole bunch of commercials, you know, advertising milk, trying to make people more aware of how great milk is, and the whole gimmick between all these commercials was that someone needed milk badly, they never got it, and then the end of the commercial was always just, got milk. I remember specifically one involving the Trix Rabbit. So, Harlan Williams is in a grocery store, and he buys some Trix, and then he rushes up to his apartment, and Harlan Williams unzips his face, and it's revealed that he was actually the Trix Rabbit all along, in disguise, right? And if you've ever seen the Trix Rabbit commercials, he just wants tricks, right? And all of these asshole kids will not let the Trix Rabbit have tricks. Silly rabbit, tricks are for kids, and they condescend to him, and they bully him, and they take things away from him, even if he really earned the Trix cereal. And you feel bad for the Trix Rabbit. I know as a kid, I felt bad for the Trix Rabbit, because what the hell? That's just not right. That's not cool. Let him have his cereal. So this commercial, he finally has a cereal. He's about to eat it. He grabs a carton of milk, he pours it over the bowl, one drop of milk comes out. There's no milk for his cereal. Trix Rabbit is devastated. He looks heartbroken. He's just like, oh god! And then the commercial just ends. Got milk. Why? Why does the Trix Rabbit have to endure so much? Why? I should probably be talking about the level, huh? Sorry about that. Act 1 has a fantastic remix. I love Act 1's music. Act 2's music, not so much. Radical Highway is definitely my least favorite of all the Generations levels. Like, counting 3DS and the console version, I dislike Radical Highway the most. And it's mostly because of sections that I just went through right now, involving a lot of bottomless pits and a lot of slow-moving columns. Like, when I'm taking the higher routes and I'm trying to get the S ranks, I'm taking all the good pathways. I'm taking all the good shortcuts, right? But if you're not interested in shortcuts, if you miss out on a lot of the golden Gun Beetle opportunities, like, they have Gun Beetles that you have to homing attack chain to reach higher spots, right? And they also have golden Gun Beetles, which were a thing in Sonic Adventure 2. There's one. I just got it. You know, they were a thing in Sonic Adventure 2 and Shadow the Hedgehog, where they gave you 1,000 points, but they disappeared really quickly. Like, as soon as you saw them, you had to destroy them as soon as they came up, otherwise they would disappear and they wouldn't come back. In this level, golden Gun Beetles are used to reach higher platforms, but if you don't homing attack them in time, you'll find yourself going down to the lower routes. The lower routes are filled with bottomless pits. Sections like this, actually, where you're on bottomless pit territory and you're using all of these slow columns to get to where you need to go. And this one doesn't look so bad, but Act 1 has a few annoying ones. Act 2 definitely has annoying ones that I'm not really showing off. And it makes the level a lot more slower paced than every other level in both games. And it's a level I don't really find myself coming back to all that much. I can safely say that, like, the original Radical Highway from Sonic Adventure 2 When I was in high school, I played through that a million times. I would always go back to Radical Highway, just playing it over and over and over again, because I loved that level. It was so good. Radical Highway and Generations, I never come back to this. If I boot up 3DS Generations, I never come back to Radical Highway. Easily my least favorite level. And Act 2's remix. Ugh, I don't really care for the music here in Act 2, but yeah, that's Radical Highway. It's a nostalgic level for me because it was the first 3D Sonic gameplay I ever experienced. Sonic Adventure 2, I played that first before I played Sonic Adventure 1. And I chose the Dark Pathway first because, you know, I'm edgy and I wanted to play as Dr. Eggman. So the very first time I got a 3D Spin Dash, a 3D hedgehog to play around with, it was Radical Highway. So that has a lot of nostalgia for me. Anyway, folks, we're moving on to the next game in what is referred to as the Dreamcast era. Yes, we're in the Dreamcast era. Keep that in mind as we go to our next level. This level that is a beach with whale columns. Where are we going? We're going to Seaside Hill, the very first stage from Sonic Heroes, a game that was released on the Nintendo GameCube, the PlayStation 2, and the Xbox. Not the Sega Dreamcast, it was never released on the Sega Dreamcast, but Seaside Hill was the first level of Sonic Heroes, which is a game I still love to this day, and the first section is very water heavy. You know, I actually took a really good shortcut to skip a lot of the water section here, which I always appreciate in Sonic levels. Like, if you're gonna have water in your level, make a nice shortcut. Make there be a nice thing to speed it up for me so that I don't have to spend all my time in water, because I just hate water levels. I hate the anxiety of almost drowning and having to find all those air bubbles. I don't like it. It makes me nervous. Look at me bouncing up and down right now. I want the platform to get down here immediately. God damn it. And that's it. That's it for the water. I mean, there's some water left in Seaside Hill Act 1, but that's not too bad. Not too bad. It's not a labyrinth-type experience that I was worried when I started up the level. But, yeah, when the trailers for Sonic Generations came out, they referred to the 3 eras that Sonic would be going through, because it had the tagline, like, 3 eras, 2 Sonics, 1 epic adventure, blah, blah, blah. And there was the classic era, the modern era, and the third one was the Dreamcast era, which of course consists of Sonic Adventure 1, Sonic Adventure 2, both on Dreamcast, and Sonic Heroes, which is not a Dreamcast game at all. But it does have more in common with the adventure games than it does with anything from the modern era. It had Ryan Drummond, Dean Bristow, the adventure voice cast. It definitely had that old school feeling, so I'm fine calling it a Dreamcast game, even though it isn't. Not really. The very first game to introduce the egg pawns, those orange badniks that were in Sonic Heroes, Shadow the Hedgehog, Sonic Colors, etc. This was their first ever appearance, and of course Sonic Heroes had the 3-person gameplay, which I still love oh so much. This section was very Labyrinth Zone. But luckily, not the whole level. The whole level wasn't very Labyrinth Zone. Oh god, the rolling thing! Gotta keep on moving, climb those stairs, climb those stairs. I love Sonic Heroes to death. Still a game I defend quite vigorously. I even said at the very end of the Sonic Colors playthrough during the credits that I actually enjoy playing Sonic Heroes more than Sonic Colors. I stand by that statement. I still like playing Sonic Heroes more than Sonic Colors. I know, that's a crazy controversial statement, but I really got into that speed, flying, power type gameplay. If you've ever seen my Sonic Heroes playthrough, you know, if you've ever seen how I played the game and how my gameplay was, that's what I do on every playthrough, and it's absolutely fun to me. It's absolutely a game that, when I come back to it every now and then, I still can't believe how fun it is. It's always more fun every year that goes on. It seems like if I play it next year, it's even going to be more fun than how I remember it. It's weird. But, you know, I'm a weirdo with weird Sonic opinions, so... That was Act 1. Very watery, very almost labyrinthy, but not really, not really. But now we're getting to the good stuff. Act 2. That pop-up just told us that we now have wall jumping. Wall jumping acts a little differently than it did in Sonic Unleashed and Sonic Colors. Now they have specific walls that Sonic can wall jump on. They're black and red, but he can't just wall jump on anything. He can only wall jump on things that are black and red, so you have to look out for that. The great thing about the music here, it is Seaside Hill, but it also meshes with Ocean Palace, which is the second theme of the Seaside Hill zone. And I love Ocean Palace's music way more than I love Seaside Hill. I always appreciated Ocean Palace music way better. But right there, that is the wall jumping. You know, I had to get a red ring, and it's very tight, because you don't want to slide too far down and reach a lower route and stuff. Oh, look, the whales! Seaside Hill Act 2, there's a lot to it that I'm not actually showing off. All the water that you're seeing down below, like Atabat from Sonic Unleashed, you can actually boost and run along the water down there. You can run along the water and find a whole bunch of different routes that most players aren't going to find, and there's actually a little treat for people who go out of bounds. Well, I wouldn't say treat so much as trick, but if you go out of bounds in the Seaside Hill level, if you're boosting along the water and you go too far outwards, there is a giant badnik that will pop out and it will kill Sonic the Hedgehog if he goes too far from where he's supposed to be. So this level has a lot in common with Atabat, and you would see that if you took the lower routes, but I'm taking the higher route so I can ride the go-kart stuff. Honestly, this go-kart is not nearly as fun as the actual Sonic Heroes go-kart. For one thing, the turning is crap. Anytime you handle a corner, you can't just like drift the way a regular Sonic or snowboard Sonic can. You always find yourself clinging to walls and hugging walls because there's just too much traction and you can't really get anywhere you need to go. Whereas Sonic Heroes, the entire gameplay behind that was you move left and right, it goes left and right. It didn't even care about corners. It didn't care about momentum or whatever. It just went left and right, and when you jumped, it jumped, you know. Oh, this level's so exciting. I never get tired of those fancy camera angles where, like, you hit a rail, and then you just see him doing the curve and going along it, and then he's wall running, and then you have to dodge all the bombs while you're wall running, and oh god, this is so exciting and fun. This might be tied with my Sonic the Hedgehog 2 playthrough, where I spend a lot of the time going, I love this game, because Generations is so damn good! I can't help it. I like to gush. I like to be optimistic about Sonic games I like. I don't know what to tell you. Oh no, we're not gonna make it! Hey! The whale buddy! He just saved us! The whale was our friend? He didn't try to kill us? That's completely new. Maybe he learned his lesson after he bumped his head at the end of Emerald Coast. Thanks, whale buddy. I'm glad you're on my side now. I'm glad you're on my side. Thanks for saving us from death. But yeah, folks, that was Sonic Heroes, and that's the only level of Sonic Heroes, because it's not in the 3DS version. If I had to choose another Heroes level, I would have gone with Egg Fleet. I think that would have been cool.
So I think we've pieced together more of what's happening, and it's not good.
That's no good.
Whoa! When that thing goes through time, it tears space apart, leaving the areas empty and dead, and sticking them in this weird white limbo. When the Sonics accelerate through time, they fix space, returning color and life.
Then I guess we have to run like there's no tomorrow, or there won't be a tomorrow.
It takes a mighty foe to trap a ninja. Be on your guard, Sonic. thank you, my friend. Beware, for I have looked into the soul of our enemy, and I saw only darkness.
And that was Espio the Chameleon, who was playable in Sonic Heroes. This time around, he's voiced by Troy Baker, because Troy Baker has to be in every single video game imaginable. But, yeah, that's it, folks. Come back for part 9, where we go to the challenge acts to get to the next boss gate. And, hashtag Justice for Trix Rabbit. Justice for Trix Rabbit.